What's the strangest punishment your parents ever gave you? Forced to smell dog breath. Because if we have to deal with the filth from your mouth, then you have to deal with the filth from its mouth. I got this on numerous occasions. It sounds silly at first, but it was anything but at the time. I begged them to give me *anything* but that. My mom always told me I would end up in prison. As punishment, she would make me sit in timeout under an office desk with a slap back chair turned upside down on top so the back covered the opening like bars. Come dinner time she fed me hard rolls and water, because that's what they serve in prison. I found out years later, while not good food, prison food is much better than hard rolls and water. Dad made me splice together his old 8mm vacation films into a Vine-style highlight reel after I hurt his feelings by refusing to see Chef with him. Not really a strange punishment, but it turned out strangely I think. When I was probably 5 or 6, something happened. Literally can't remember what I did to deserve the punishment. That caused my parents to send me to my room with no lights, a loud on and the door closed. I'd never been able to sleep with the door closed and at least a light on in the hall or something till then. This time, I just went to sleep after a while in there with no lights, and that was the last time I needed lights on or the door open when I went to bed. Worked out well from my point of view. Edit. Wow, this kinda blew up over the weekend. I should say that I grew up during the late 60s when spanking was just a normal thing too. I don't remember ever actually getting spanked though. I dunno. My parents were never cruel to us when we were children. In fact, maybe I was just sent to my room and I just didn't turn on the light myself. Goodness knows I could have. The switch was on the inside of my room. I might have just pouted on my bed till I fell asleep and realized later that I didn't have the light on. It was around 50 years ago or so. I remember that it happened, but I don't remember the specific circumstances. My parents routinely took away my library card when I did something worth punishing, so I memorized it. When they caught on, they refused to go to the library with me for the duration of my punishment. So I started volunteering at the library once a week, so they had to take me. When I was 10, mom would take my Northeast's games for a week. When I was 13, mom would take my SNES games for a week. When I was 16, mom would take my blank floppy disks for a week. I didn't explain the mistake to her until I moved out. I got a bad grade on a math test in elementary school. As my dad dropped me off for the day, I quickly told him he needed to sign something, the test. He was so furious that even though I was already late for school, he drove the 2 miles back home, spanked me and made me walk to school. I was so late. If I cursed, my mom would make me go into the bathroom and say every curse I knew while looking in the mirror so I could see how ugly I made myself look while cursing. Well, I learned that if I wanted to curse with impunity, all I had to do was say ass and get sent to the bathroom where I could say any curse I could think of, punishment free, for as long as I wanted. If I misbehaved in a car, my mom would lower the window and say that a bad would fine if it continued to misbehave. I had to fill cut open tennis balls with pennies. I'm still not sure what that was about. I was innocent BTW. For some reason my parents allowed my brother and I to have a very basic bow and arrow which we were allowed to shoot at a cardboard box in the backyard. I, being very young and very dumb, crawled into the box while my brother was firing. Parents were not pleased, and to demonstrate how dangerous what I had done was, they made me lay on the couch for the whole day and pretend I was in a hospital bed. Me and my sister were fighting after I tried to steal some of her chili fries and she stabbed me with a fork. Dad took us out back and tied us up face to face with a rope. Told us when you figure out how to work together you will be able to get out. I would get grounded to the front porch because when I was grounded in my room I would entertain myself with literally anything, even lint from the carpet. I was not allowed to read unless it was specifically for school. When I was 16 I got caught shoplifting a CD. Thankfully they didn't press charges, but my father confiscated every possession I owned short of the essentials, mattress, blankets, clothes, and ironically, a $200 police scanner, still in the box, he didn't know about. And that's how I got into listening to police scanners. Edit. Scanner was shoplifted as well, and I never shoplifted again after getting caught. Mum found out I ditched mass at school, Catholic school, so she made me go to all 7 masses offered by my church that weekend. Total time over the weekend spent in church was like 10 hours. I had the gospel and the homily memorized. Withheld dinner and I was only allowed to have bread and butter. My mother is a terrible cook, so I was super okay with this. When I was little, my mom's go-to punishment was to make me kneel on uncooked rice for about 15 minutes. Had to keep the straight back or else the time was increased. She did this because that was how her mom punished her and her brother. She eventually stopped using this punishment after she set some clear boundaries with my very controlling grandmother. She never felt right making me do it. My little sister never had to go through it. I kind of resented that for a while, but eventually was grateful she didn't experience it. I was being a dick as a teen. I think I was 15. And tormenting my little brother by grossing him out. Stuff like burping in his face when he didn't expect it, making him smell my feet, etc. And he really hated it. It made me laugh, and I called him a pussy for being grossed out so easily. After he came to her crying one day about it, my mom warned me that if I didn't stop I'd be very sorry. Asterisk asterisk I didn't listen. Worst mistake of my childhood. Asterisk asterisk my mom ran a small doggy daycare / pet grooming business. The next time I did this to my brother, she put me to work cleaning filthy dog kennels, without gloves, and without a scooper. Worse, she introduced me to what dog anal glands are, which groomers often have to express. Around 3 times a day that week I had to express dog anal glands. I was not allowed to wear gloves. I puked. Every single time. She planned on the punishment lasting all week, but my bro asked her to let me off the hook after he saw how defeated and broken I looked by Wednesday. My parents said I was playing too much Skyrim when it came out, so they took the router with them to work every day. Good thing you don't need internet to play an offline single player game. My parents made me join my school's cross-country team because I quit the football team. They also made me join the basketball team and the debate team. I think they had like 3 ideas for punishment and just did all of them. I was always more the artist type. Didn't much care for throwing the football around or working on cars. I wasn't belittled or anything. My family let me do me. But my stepfather was an evil genius, and when I did something that was considered a minor infraction he'd give me the option of either going to bed early or staying up till my normal bedtime, but having to watch sports with him in the living room, and I couldn't just zone out or read. He'd sit there and make chit chat about the game, or try explaining the rules or the player's stats or something else I couldn't have cared less about. I'm 34 and we still laugh about that sometimes. T was brutal. When I was preparing for high school I sucked at writing, particularly long response/essay questions. To mediate this my dad spent a week having me write a different essay every day of the most simple and mundane tasks. The one that really sticks out in my mind was the first one, how to put a football away. By doing this, though it seemed inhumane at the time, I learned how to expand a simple thought into highly descriptive details and became a great writer throughout the rest of my school career. One time when I was super young I didn't eat all of the food on my plate. My dad told me I was gonna eat it or wear it. I was full and I said I'm not gonna eat it. Then my dad slammed my head into my plate of food. Banned from eating eggs. I was served broccoli quiche and I stomached it down, but ended up gagging it up and spitting it out. My dad became upset by this. You like eggs, you like cheese, you like pie crust, you like broccoli. Eat it or you aren't allowed to have eggs anymore. I did not. No more eggs for me. This lasted about 2 days before he recognized how ridiculous that was. I got grounded a lot. That's not weird, but my mom refused to call it a grounding. She'd just give me a bunch of individual punishments that added up to a grounding. Can't leave the house, can't hang out with friends, can't play with most of my toys. But if I told someone I was grounded she got upset. I think maybe the distinction she had in her head was that I was allowed to leave my room and talk to my family members instead of being kept in my bedroom like her parents' version of grounding. No punishment. And that in itself was punishment. I totally bunked during my first semester in college. I took 16 credits and ended up with a 0.77 GPA for the semester. Yes, less than 1. My parents were disappointed, but told me that they knew I could do better, and they knew I would do better. They forgave me, and basically said, okay, so you screwed up, now make it better, and make us proud. The fact that they were not upset really weighed on me. It really put a ton of guilt and shame upon me, even though they didn't put those things on me. I did it to myself. It really motivated me to not dick around any longer in college. I buckled down and really succeeded. One time I forged my mom's signature on a school discipline warning thing. Wasn't allowed to go trick-or-treating that year because I didn't lie to my babysitter about not having eaten breakfast that day. If I got into fights with my brother/sister, we had to stand nose to nose for an hour. Give me my dessert on top of the vegetables I didn't want to finish. The next time I made sure to finish my plate. Odd perhaps, but it worked. A little brother. I still don't know what I did wrong. They were mad I was playing too many video games. Civilization, Master of Orient 2nd, World of Warcraft I, Final Fantasy I, 2, 3, Tactics, Ogre Battle Urquan Masters. Okay, so I played lots of games. So they made me go out with friends more. Now keep in mind I did have friends and was social and would go out once or twice a week with them. But any video games were bad. So my parents forced me to go hang out in my buddy's garage where they just drank and smoked up at 13 years old. A couple of them ended up getting into some serious drugs by around 16. And my parents still were forcing me to go hang out with them because their parents were good people that will sort him out. Well, they never did. I always thought it was funny that they considered cerebral strategy games more damaging to my development than hanging out with 13 to 16-year-old drunks. My brother was caught shoplifting video games at the age of 14. I was 10, at home and totally unaware of what he was doing at the time. The police had been called and my parents had to pick him up at the station, a scared straight kind of thing. Understandably, he was lectured and grounded from video games plus certain other privileges for 3 months. No, so understandably I too was included in this punishment. When I protested and pleaded my undisputed innocence, the only reply was a confusing mishmash of contradictory explanations. I would never do that to a kid. Sent me to their room. My room had a full-size color TV with cable, video games, and all my stuff. Their room had a bed and a tiny, black and white, TV with an antenna that only got one channel in. Well, most boring night ever. I beat up a bully. My mom had a strong conversation with me and then took me out for sushi. I failed pet because I wouldn't dress out. My dad was so flabbergasted that I got no punishment. My parents believed in beatings, so it was strange. Coincidentally, that's when I joined marching band, counted as pet credit. When I was 5, my dad had this threat he would always use that went like putting us under the stream or something. I can't put it right in English words. I didn't understand what that meant until one night I just couldn't fall asleep. So I was there lying in bed, and when he came to check up on us, shared room with my 2 sisters, and saw me awake, he decided it was my fault and he had to punish me. So he dragged me to the bathroom and put my head under the running cold water tap until my hair was soaked, then sent me to bed like that. A while later, when he had presumably fallen asleep, my mom came, having heard the entire thing happen, because I was obviously shouting at him to stop, and dried my hair, cursing him up and down. To this day I still don't understand what his logic was, and he laughs about it when I mention it. He always had it out for me during those years for some reason. And if you're wondering why my mom didn't stop him, my guess would be during that time housewives just didn't really go against their husbands for whatever reason. I don't hold it against her though. Made me eat biscuits and gravy. I absolutely hated that food as a kid. My obese stepfather hated it. So often the punishment was having those for dinner. I often just didn't eat, which was fine by him. He got my portion. I had one of those palate expander things that are used when your mouth is too crowded for all of your permanent teeth. Once or twice a day, you have to take a key and tighten the screw in the middle of this metal bar that sits across the roof of your mouth to slowly widen your upper jaw. Felt like a medieval torture device. You bet I would shape up real fast when my mom would threaten I'm gonna get the key. Make sure to like and subscribe for more daily content. Thanks for watching.